Welcome to Real Talk Real Women. My name is Miriam Khalladi and today we have IFBB Bikini Pro, bodybuilding.com sponsored athlete, international fitness model, writer and certified expert trainer Nicole Moneer on the show. Welcome to the show, Nicole. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome, Nicole. Today, you're a top 10 internationally ranked professional fitness competitor and model, but that wasn't always the case. You have been chronically sick for 20 years. How did you overcome that, and how is your health today?
Oh gosh, well, I'm writing a book on that. Kind of in brief, I was sick for probably like at least my first 30 some years of life. I was sick when I was born. In talking to my mom, I was born with an upper respiratory infection at birth. And then I experienced a lot of symptoms in my late teens, early 20s that most people probably are experiencing now in, middle life, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And again, everybody's story is a little bit different. And in my book, I'm going to go in more depth on that. But what actually kind of was a turning point for me was in my early 30s. Actually, in 2006, I stumbled upon an integrative chiropractor, and he actually, changed my life because here I was, the daughter of a doctor, and my mom a nurse, and my entire life I was on conventional meds, and typical kid. I mean, I was active in dance, but I ate, a lot of processed, unhealthy foods. We didn't have, what a lot of people have, I'd say a lot more people have now, at least that I'm exposed to in the industry I'm in, as far as parents setting a good example. I was active, and so that offset any of my unhealthy eating habits, and then I carried that on into college. And, my eating just got worse and worse. I was getting sicker and sicker, and I was on this drug and that drug, and then this drug wouldn't work, and then I try a new drug, and then I'd have another symptom, and then I'd take another drug, and that would just mask it. And so in my 30s, stumbled upon the chiropractor, and I've been prescription free since 2006, and I don't have any of the symptoms that I had, for, like I said, the last 30 years. And I'll discuss more in detail because I got to save some stuff for my book. What I experienced and what I went through. But the power of food. Food has the power to kill. It has the power to heal. Supplements too. Getting the right dosages, the right kind of supplements. A lot of supplements, yes, you can get on bodybuilding.com and at various other sources. But through my integrative chiro, they have certain supplements, certain doses for your condition. So, and they have testing that they offer. And now at Lifetime Fitness where I work, we have a lot of that testing, which is great because your health, it's not just about, hey, I work out and I do this, because that's what I was doing for 30 years. I danced my whole life. I, did aerobics. I did high-low. I did step. And then, I started to weight train, more consistently in my late 20s, but it wasn't until my 30s that I got consistent with my nutrition and my health changed. And so it's important to know what's going on inside of you metabolically. And so blood testing, saliva testing, and not a typical blood test that you would get with your conventional doctor, because they don't look at it as in depth as we do at Lifetime or my integrative chiro, where you can actually prescribe food for people and supplements. And so basically, in a nutshell, I turned my health around with food and supplements.
Oh, great. Amazing. Was there ever a time where you felt this was just going to be your fate and that you would just have to learn to live with being on medication and feeling sick all the time?
I was sick of being sick, and I think there's a lot of people that get to that point. And with the clientele that I attract, most people know what I'm about, so they already know what to expect. And even more so, once I get people on their programs, their symptoms, whether it's, hey, I sleep better, or, I have energy, I get them off, a lot of caffeine and, coffee and stuff like that. Or, they notice a lot of symptoms subside once I get them on, certain foods, certain supplements. And also, if they're noticing certain reactions, then it's like, hey, we need to get you to a food allergy test, or, stuff with their energy. Well, let's get you an adrenal test. So it's great to have those tools available.
I really love the recent post you placed on Facebook about people focusing on the negative instead of good and abundance. You decided to focus on the positive, and you've changed your life for the better. What advice can you give people who tend to focus on the negative?
Oh man, a lot of people do focus on the negative, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people in my life that I've kind of had to eliminate because those people truly do weigh you down. But in a sense of being supportive, I think that, there's people you can vent to, and there's a big difference. But we all have hardships that we go through. And in my book, I'm going to share that in detail. And, I got to hear some of the other interviews that you had from the other ladies. And, like they have some amazing stories. We all have a lot of amazing stories. Not everybody wants to share their story. And most people have been through hard times, but most people aren't at that point maybe in their life where they can look at it and be like, okay, what's the lesson? What is this teaching me? What is this bringing me to? And how is this going to affect me in my future? How can I help other people? And I look at it that, we go through suffering a lot of times to help other people when they're going through that same thing. And so with everything I do in my career, I get a lot of people that are coming to me, and I'm helping them turn their health around. I'm helping them turn their personal lives around in different aspects. And, just again, focusing on the good, because it's so easy to focus on the negative. And I'm Sagittarius, so that's another reason why I'm so optimistic. But I have had, in the past, a lot of negative stuff. And it wasn't, I think that when you go through a point of losing a lot of things in your life, people and important things that, I'm going to cry because my mom died. Wow. Okay. My mom died last March. That's okay. It's like, I need to get it out. And then my dad died when I was 23. And, when you lose people like that, it just teaches you to appreciate so much more, and you learn to just complain less. Yeah. It's like there's people that complain about things, and sometimes I just look at them, I'm like, you got a million other good things going on. Yeah. And so, I think that it's just reminding people to look at the good, and that the bad is there to make them better and stronger and wiser. And that's how I look at it. I've had a lot of things happen to me, but in the end, I've come out a rock star.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for your openness. You recently turned 40, and I have to say that you look at the very least 10 years younger. Congratulations, Nicole.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of rubbing it in. I'm taking advantage of being 40. So yeah, hopefully at 50, that's the next goal. Oh, great. Yeah. So turning 40 has been great. I never thought. Here's the thing: I look better, I feel better, I move better. At 40 than I did at 20. It's just amazing. Again, what food and supplementation can do, because I was so sick in my 20s, and I don't have pictures out there. I think I'm going to save them for my book before pictures. I wasn't overweight. I've always, I guess you could say, I haven't ever been an emotional eater, and not that that's a bad thing. We all have different things we turn to. I've never been an emotional eater. I haven't had any eating disorders. I have a pretty healthy relationship with food. But like I said, back in the day, what did I do? I love dessert. Even now, like I love dessert, and on occasion I treat myself to that. But a lot of it is eating a lot of processed foods and beer, and just looking at pictures of me from back in college, and how much the gym and lifting weights changed my overall health and my physique. And then again, like I said, the food and supplements changed my health tremendously. Yeah. So 40, 50, bring it on again. It's like now I know what to do as far as, what I put in my body that's going to, help as far as my anti-aging serum. That's what I call it.
Amazing. And you also stated that you are whatever you make up your mind to be. And how important is mindset when it comes to being able to stay young?
Exactly. I meet with so many people, not just, where I work, but even just out and about, and even on social media where, people think, oh, I'm 30 and they're done. And I'm like, really? I think there's a lot of, posts that I'm seeing out there that are inspiring me of people that are older than me and the transformations they'd make. And some of them don't even start until what, maybe 2-3 years ago. And, I've been active since age 4. I've been lifting consistently for over a decade, but, and even my clients inspire me because I see their transformations, and I know what's going on in their personal life, where they've come from and what they've overcome to get there. And, again, I cheered for the Bulls. I cheered in high school. I cheered in college. And, part of my job is to be a cheerleader and, let these people know, well, if you don't think you can do it, or, you're focusing on your competition and the other people, well, that's where your mindset's going to stay and you're not going to get ahead. And it is hard to focus on yourself, especially with social media, because people are constantly seeing stuff and comparing themselves to other people. There's a lot of good aspects to it, but you have to stay strong and know that, hey, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And, again, in my book, I'm going to share that because there's so many things that I've dreamed of, that I've envisioned. And when I look back and I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, like check, check, check. I did that. I said I wanted to do that. Just things from when I was younger. For example, my brother was diagnosed with leukemia back in 1976, and I was the donor for a bone marrow transplant, which proved to be successful. And so our family flew to Seattle, Washington, to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. He was treated there and received a bone marrow transplant there. And so we lived there for several months, and then we would go back every 2 years for checkups and stuff. And so we would always go shopping at Nordstrom. And my mom loved Nordstrom and Nordstrom shoes. And, I was like, I'm going to work there. And what did I do? For 7 years, it was my first job out of college. I have a degree in fashion, and I was in that industry for a good 13 years. But just thinking of like that one little thing, there's a ton of other things. But it's, if you plant that seed in your head and you don't have any doubts, it'll come to you in time. The universe will bring it to you in time. I'm a big fan of The Secret. I tell my clients about it. There's a little app on your phone. So if anybody's listening and they're into The Secret and you don't have the app, get it for your phone because it's great. It gives you little daily inspirational quotes and messages. And then the laws of attraction, Tony Robbins, like all that is what I believe in. And it's true. It happens.
Do you feel this is something that people can learn, developing a positive mindset and seeing their own potential and good? And how do you train your mind?
Yes. And for my book, I'm working on compiling some client testimonials, not just, hey, they lost this much weight, or, they're in a new pant size. That's great. But I have a lot of clients who, it's very touching. And I think people don't realize, a lot of people think, oh, a personal trainer is just there to kick your butt, and make you sweat and lift. And I'm working on getting my life coach cert this summer. I wasn't able to get it last year. I had to focus on my mom's estate and stuff like that. But as a trainer, I actually, I call myself a fitness professional. There's a select few that really can touch people's lives just outside of, hey, you know what, let's change your body. You're changing lives. And for me, it's 24/7. My clients know they can text me, they can call me anytime. I'm going to respond to them. And, again, just teaching them, sharing my examples of my life story, that in turn inspires them. And then when they tell me what they want to do, I have a lot of client examples that, will be in this book. And even one that's on Muscle and Fitness, hers website. I have a great client testimonial where, she came to me, she wanted to lose 30 pounds. And then she saw what I did and she said, I want to do what you do. Do you think I can do it? And I said, well, why not? Why not? And she did it. She ended up placing third in her first show. And then she had also shared with me wanting, to get pregnant. And she just had her baby, I think, yesterday. So it's amazing to see my clients make their to-do list or share with me their visions and then watch them become a reality, because that's what it's about. And so, that's what I help people do. And when I'm with my clients one-on-one, it's pretty intimate. You're with them for an hour. And, for whether it's 1 time a week, 2 times a week, for months. And, you really get to know one another. And again, you're like their therapist. Again, I don't have those credentials. And sometimes I do have to refer my clients out for things that are out of my scope. But it's constant, letting them know they can believe in themselves. And I make a lot of my clients do vision boards and lists. And so it all proves to be, very effective.
Great. And you're doing a great job, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you.
In the end, we are all human and no one is perfect. How do you deal with setbacks and adversity?
Gosh, you know what? I think I'm at a point in my life where I totally can accept me, and the people that are in my life love me and accept me. They know a lot about me. They know a lot of what's going to be in my book, and a lot of them can relate to me. And I think that most people are too embarrassed and too ashamed to share their screw ups or their hiccups. We all have that in life. And to me, it's like, okay, I screwed up. Well, let me see if I can learn from that and do better. I'm always about bettering myself. And the hardest part is admitting. And, it wasn't until my, I'd say, early 30s that I was able to admit a lot of things and work on myself a lot. And it's helped me become better as a person and become more compassionate, with other people in my life, whether it's, clients or personal life. And again, like I'm writing a book on my life story. And so it's not just on my health history. It's going to be on like everything. And so there's a lot that, I'm bearing my soul to people that I don't know, but I know that these people that are going to pick up my book and take the time to purchase it and take the time to read it aren't going to judge. And, again, that we're all human. We all make mistakes, but the question is, how are you going to look at that mistake, and are you going to better yourself from it? And again, teach others, share it with others. And that's a huge part of my book that, that's a goal with my book, to share it so that other people know they're not alone and that I can help other people.
You also wrote about learning to let go and how you can only control yourself and not others. I think there is a very valuable lesson in there as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
One example I have is I didn't have a great relationship with my father while he was alive. And this talking is good therapy, because my book is audio. And so, sometimes when I'm talking and reflecting, it's like I break down crying. So if I cry again, it's all good. He died unexpectedly, as did my mom. And we didn't have a good relationship. And it wasn't again until he died at 23, and it wasn't until probably almost 10, 12 years later that, I was in therapy, that I was able actually to heal and forgive him for a lot of things, and, understand kind of where he came from, and still look at it and appreciate, and be grateful for having him in my life for, what he was able to give me. And, like going to India, I went to India, bodybuilding.com sent me to India. And so my dad was born there. And so that was a very emotional trip to go there. And I don't know if people, watching this have been, and just to see, your parents, what they came from, and then how he came here. Here I am, a doctor's daughter. I've had a pretty good life. My college education was paid for. Doesn't mean I haven't had financial hard times in my adult years, but I've had a pretty good life. And, even though my dad wasn't in my life, he wasn't present. He did provide for me in other ways. And so I think that it's kind of like everything that you've been talking about and that I've been posting. It's like, you kind of have to look at the good, and you have to learn to accept people for what they have and what they can give you. Because not everybody's going to be able to give you 100% of what you want. And, you can talk with people and tell them your needs, and they can work on it, and they can better themselves and discuss that. But, a lot of times you have to let go. I actually did my first meditation class earlier this month, and that was on my bucket list. And so a lot of that is just, letting things go. And I think that, I had so much anger and hurt with my relationship with my father that, I was in such a reactive state throughout my 20s and into my early 30s. And a lot of people are reactive. And I've learned to be more reaction less, and not in a sense where I don't care, but, when people get into situations, you know, they get escalated, and I've learned to kind of be present, and it's hard, but I've learned to kind of be like, okay, this isn't about me, you know, somebody else, there's something going on with them, and I need to kind of find out what's going on with their feelings. Why are they upset? What can I do to better the situation, instead of, you know, getting my stuff mixed up with their stuff. And so, you know, it's easier when you can kind of take a step back and look at things, I guess, from a different perspective, instead of always like everybody's out to hurt me. And I think that, you know, a lot of people have this wall up, and, you know, there are times where I've had walls up, and even now there are times where I have walls up depending on certain situations. But, you know, letting go is just, it's freeing. It feels good. You don't have that weight. It's healthier. It's healthy. And so I think that, you know, at the same time, when I was detoxing, I know, at the same time I was detoxing, I was also healing emotionally. So I was healing physically, but emotionally, I didn't have that baggage weighing me down. And emotions, you know, take such a toll on people's health. And, you know, I've been reading more on that, you know, seeing it, you know, in my own life, in some of my, you know, family members' lives, you know, and other people in my world. You know, I see it, and, you know, emotional health, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but, you know, emotional health is huge. So it's, when it comes to health, it's not just, like I said, sweat and steel. You've got a lot going on. And if you can heal emotionally, you're going to be so much healthier. You're not going to be sick all the time. And that's where I kind of look back. And I have a great book that a member who's also a client of mine gave me this book, and it just talks about your health and how it affects you emotionally. And, you know, I'm not like I'm analyzing everybody, but, you know, I see it. I see it in people, you know, that aren't, like I said, my family, my mother and my father. When I look at them and I look at their health, and I look at, like, emotionally, you know, where they were, my own health, and just other examples. And so, yeah, did I answer that?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You're also a very successful coach and have coached a lot of people towards better health and literally changed their lives. What has been your most rewarding experience this far in working with your clients?
Wow, I have a lot of clients who, I mean, I get great texts all the time. I mean, gosh, I wish I could put my phone on social media. And I know there's plenty of other trainers who feel the same, because some of these texts, they're quite personal, and I don't share everything. You know, a lot of this stuff is personal, and that's part of my job as a trainer, to keep things, you know, confidential. But then, you know, there is stuff I share, and I'd have to say the most rewarding thing is seeing people make changes to better themselves. And when they come to me and they open up to me, and I think something that, and this is again with my book, I think that the world needs, I'm gonna cry, the world needs more people to encourage them. There's so many people that just are very mean and cruel and discouraging, and they're not supportive, and it sucks, because a lot of people I work with don't have that support from their spouse. They don't have that support from their parents. They don't have that support from their siblings or from their friends, and it sucks. And I think that the best part of it is that when I work with people, I get to be their cheerleader, and, you know, they're like, Nicole, I wouldn't have done this. You know, it's, again, they have to believe in themselves. So sometimes, you know, people need other people to encourage them. And so as a trainer, sometimes I may be their only source of encouragement. And so that's where it's sad. And again, having that little community, you know, whether people are on social media, having a community, or even building a team, like with myself, I'm, you know, working with girls together and kind of connecting them, whether they're competing or just other clients of mine that just want to have a healthy life and hang out with other healthy people, you know, that support them and encourage them. So the most rewarding part of my job is seeing my clients actually sharing with me what they want to do and doing it.
Oh, great. Amazing. You're now in the process of writing a book. Can you tell us what it is going to be about and how it will be different from anything else out there?
Uh, well, haha. So it's going to be about my health history. That's actually, what the publishers had come to me for originally. My health history, I'm a former world champion Chicago Bulls cheerleader. I've had a lot of amazing things. And I think that, a part of it too, like you said, believing in yourself. My whole life I believed in myself. And I think that it's important at a young age to get your kids involved in different sports or extracurricular activities to give them that self-confidence. Because like I said, there's too many people, that are too critical and, not supportive and always knocking people down. And you want to give kids confidence, not just in their younger years, but starting in their younger years is going to last them a lifetime. And so, I owe that to, my mother and my father getting me into dance. And, my mom was a constant presence in my life. And so I think that, my book is an avenue on health. But then, again, your health isn't just about sweat, steel, food, supplements. How are your relationships? So, if I could, I posted on this. I'm like, I want Oprah's number because I would love to open up schools for marriage and parenting. The world needs it. So hopefully, if she hears this or somebody, we have the tools. We go to school and we can excel in our careers, and we can excel in sports, and we can excel in hobbies. But what about your emotions and your relationships? We don't have tools. And again, a lot of that, you just go through life. You grow as you go. But there is, therapy out there, and there is couples retreats, and I see so much out there and have experienced myself in my marriage that, it's probably the hardest job you're ever going to have. It's not, I'm going to save that. I have a quote. I'm going to save it for my book. So I think that the world, not just America, the world, because I've been on retreats and stuff like that. The world has a warped sense in regards to what a marriage is and what relationships are. And I didn't really learn what a marriage was until I went through my divorce. And again, I keep a lot of my personal life on the DL because there's just too many people out there. But obviously now I'm sharing that. But that I'm going to talk about that in my book. And I needed my divorce to get to where I am now. I'm not bitter. I'm better. A lot of people have relationships and, breakups or whatever, and they're all about pointing the finger and blaming. And that's where I say it wasn't until my 30s that I looked at myself and I was able to admit some stuff that I needed to work on and better myself. And, that's what it is when you're in a relationship. It's about you and what's going on with you, and then how you come together with your partner and how you communicate. And not just, hey, communicate about problems, but, most people shove their emotions deep down inside and they don't share things. And, and that's where I say that, unfortunately, not just men, but women, they don't know how to be emotionally available. And, what, I don't know if that's something you can teach people, but again, like I said, my main goal with my book is to teach people that health, is about food and supplementation, and you control your destiny, and that health is more than just the gym and your food and supplementation, that it has to do with your relationships. And, you need continuing education for your relationships, just like we do in our careers. If people put as much energy as they did into their careers and their hobbies, into their marriage, the divorce rate would be a lot lower.
I agree. And there seem to be a lot of things on your plate at any given moment in time. How do you balance it all?
I love to eat. No, yeah, I think I do better, like, with all these hats. Like, I love to wear different hats, and that's kind of been my thing my whole life. When I worked at Nordstrom, several different capacities. I worked at Claire's and Conair, several different capacities. And then even during that time, was doing a little bit of fitness on the side or involved in other things. So the busier I am, I think the more productive I am. When I have less to do, I'm kind of actually not as motivated. That's a little bit of a confession there. But the busier I am, the better I do, the more on my plate. I'm more of a creative intelligence. Again, I'm always looking to improve myself and see what other opportunities I can create for myself. I'm continually making my life happen, and that's exciting. So, and again, I'm Sagittarius, so I'm not only optimistic, I'm social. and I'm ambitious. So that's just the way I've been my whole life. And I know anybody who's known me for as long, I have one of my best friends I've known since diapers, and, friends I've had since grade school and high school that I still keep in touch with. And, they would all say the same. So it's great to have ambition.
What are some of your goals for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm working on some stuff with bodybuilding.com and tribalance.com. My work is great. I have a wait list at Lifetime. I couldn't be any more grateful for that. People are knocking down my door to work with me, so that's great. Just continued business, and to even, again, grow my business more. I'm having to do a lot of group training because I don't have time to actually put people in one-on-one, even though a lot of people want me one-on-one, but, doing some group training. So that's exciting because I wasn't doing that before. I have my book. I'm working on doing more kitchen videos. So that's what I'm working on with bodybuilding.com. And so that should be out soon. And then I'm, waiting to discuss the rest of the year with them regarding my contract, what I'm going to be doing throughout the remainder of the year, where I'll be, and stuff like that. And then I have a couple other sponsorships that I'm working on. So I have a lot of things in the works, but I can't announce it yet because it's not all set in stone. And like I said, my life coach, I have an open door policy. I think that, there's a lot of things I have on my vision board, or that I, plant those seeds in my head. But it's amazing to see how many things have just, come my way. Back in 2009, I was flown to Mexico City for a guest appearance, and, I never would have dreamed that. And, I've had so many great opportunities come my way that I never thought of. So you just never know. And I have people contacting me on Facebook all the time for different opportunities, but not every opportunity is a good fit. And so, for those of you out there that are watching this, social media is a great way to market yourself. Be smart about it, because you can get a lot of great opportunities for your future. And, you never know who's watching, because that's how I got my book deal. I wanted to write a book, and it came to me. So right there, that's another little, plant that seed, those good thoughts. And an anonymous fan had given my information to my publisher, and, they contacted me. And so, here I am writing my book. So, yeah.
And where can people go to online to connect or learn more about you?
I'm all over. I'm on Facebook. I've got a couple different pages. I know it's confusing. I have 2 friend pages, Nicole, Moneer. They both have IFBB Pro on there. One is Nicole Fitness Optimist, because I'm an optimist. And then I have my fan page, Nicole Moneer Guerrero. And then I have Instagram, Nicole Fitness Optimist. So I think you're going to put links underneath, so we can put all those links. I know it's probably a lot for people to remember. I have my website too, NicoleMoneer.com. But yeah, people can find me out there, and I'm in the middle of kind of rebranding, working on some stuff. So that's another thing. I've got some other stuff coming up. So working on Lifestyle 360. So that's because again, that's what I do when I'm with my clients. I don't work with just competitors. I work with people that, they want to change their lives. They want that optimal health, and they understand that it's not just like, hey, I'm going to go get on a cardio machine, and hey, I'm going to go lift some weights. They understand that, what are they putting in their body, as far as food and supplements, and what are they putting in their mind? What kind of seeds are they planting in their head, and what kind of healthy things are they doing, and who are they surrounding themselves with? So it's everything.
Yeah,
so that's
Sorry?
where people can find me. As I say, that's where people can find me.
Yeah, and I will make sure to put all the links below this video.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome. Nicole, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show, and for your openness and wisdom. It was a privilege to do this interview with you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored, and you have a good night's sleep.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Khalladi, and I will see you on the next episode of Real Talk, Real Women.